We're going to get started. So, just a brief introduction. So, we've changed. So, usually this would be called the Growth Working Group call, but we've just sort of changed into like a community call where basically, we know how a lot of, departments, working teams have sprung up like the risk working group and the treasury working group. I think their proposal is going to be finished and it should be ready to go up soon to go on chain. So we're having a lot of working groups, come up, and we see inverse scaling as an organization, and this is necessary because as a product grows, the community sort of needs to grow and have like a core team involved as well. And so basically this community call is will be it'll be weekly. It'll be the same time. It'll be 1 hour around the same time, and it'll just be a place where the different departments that spring up and anyone in the audience, they can bring up suggestions as well. It'll basically be a place where we just have a regular weekly syncing sessions, and then we can sort of brainstorm how we want like how we can help Inverse moving forward. And so, without further ado, and get started. So I'll give a brief introduction to the people up on the stage right now. So Steed is our new head of risk. Did I get that? Did I get that name right?
Yeah, man, it's good.
Okay.
You got
Yeah.
it.
Is Steed will be our new head of risk, and Nebs is going to be in the treasury working group. Is that right?
Yep.
Great. And then we have Nakamomo, who is in are you with the growth working group, or
I assume so, but yes,
okay?
project
So
leader
growth
for
working
the
group,
Inverse
and
Plus.
Karm is also growth working group. I'm also the growth working group. Naufel, I know you've been doing stuff for the growth working group, but I also know that you've been doing a lot of the front end stuff as well, right? Like in regard to like data analytics.
Yes, I've been taking the head of analytics recently, so it's now supposed to be official as well.
Sounds like a cool name, head of analytics. I'll take it.
Yeah, like it.
Now for our
Uh,
head of analytics, give him a role, give him give him all the money. I'm just kidding. And then we have Masses, who's been doing like fucking amazing work with the front end stuff. Like, do you guys see the Inference website now? It looks crisp, it looks pristine, beautiful work, Masses. And then we have Pat, who is our head of growth. He's been working tirelessly, which I think has led him to come with a cold. So he probably won't be talking as much, but he'll be here. He'll be here to offer support as well. So great. Now, Steve, could you tell us? I know you just sort of just started as the head of risk. What are you
Yeah,
thinking of? I know you're sort of are you doing it by yourself right now? Are you working with anyone? I know it's like
no, definitely not by myself. That would not be possible. But yeah, I'm happy to talk about that for just a couple minutes. I'm not. I've been in TradFi for a long time, and I've been in DeFi for on the calendar a short period of time since like last summer. But I've been involved in several kind of high growth projects. I was on the team at Squid DAO, and got involved with that kind of like day two. And I was kind of a generalist on the team with an um, specialized investment function, but I was just responsible for building everything that needed to be done. I've also been involved in marketing on a couple projects. I kind of have a background of a generalist, isn't really the word, but I have a heavy finance, investment, risk, institutional finance background, but also have a lot of, I have fun doing a lot of other stuff like marketing and building in general and just plugging people in to where there's a good fit, right? And to a certain extent, the risk build out job here at Inverse is kind of that way. Like, I'm not an expert, and in general, in my circles that I run in, if you meet somebody that says they're an expert, you go the other way. Like, we're all students of DeFi, we're all students of markets, right? And we're all students of risk to a certain extent. And I view my position as head of risk as really, yes, as a risk manager, as a builder, as a leader of the growth of risk management very broadly across across Inverse and our lending business, our money markets business, our DOLA, Fed infrastructure, and being able to support and advise from a risk mitigation, risk management standpoint. And I think after we get things out, built out, more of a risk optimization standpoint, which may be kind of a new concept to many people, but it's really about, in the investment world, you take risk to earn a return, right? All of us, when we buy tokens, when we invest in a protocol, when we farm, we say that some of those are risk free, but we're taking some risk by putting our capital to work, by putting our money to work, so we can get a return.
Yeah.
So the bigger picture is, once a framework is built out and a process is built out, and a team's built out, that's when things kind of get really interesting as you get to look at how you can turn the different dials in terms of what are the controls, what are the risk pieces of the money markets framework, and how does that help Inverse either become more profitable or become more widely used. So it's, all that to say, it's a really kind of fascinating time to be here, and I view my role as a leader and a builder, but also as a facilitator. There are a lot of people in DeFi that are, frankly, that are smarter than me, and when you lead a business unit, you want to hire and engage and motivate people who have, specialties in very niche areas and put them all together. And I think that that's personally for me one of the things that's going to be the most fascinating here at Inverse is the quality of people that are involved in the community, that are involved, in the organization, whether they're contributors or whether they're payroll people or whether they're users of Inverse or Anchor, proponents of DOLA and our cross-chain growth. I get to see myself as a risk manager, but also kind of as a project manager and just helping build overall. So, no, I kind of covered a lot of different things there, but in terms of the immediate roadmap, we've got a lot of promising things going on. In the short time I've been here, we've been able to hammer out a diligence process for some of our ongoing new opportunities, new growth opportunities around fuse pools. We've worked on the risk proposal, as you've seen, that is out there for review now for risk working group. We've been able to I've been able to understand how the various pieces fit together in a decentralized way, but also a coordinated way. How the treasury working group, the risk group, analytics, product operations, and the broader community can all work together to achieve this big ass goal that we have of deploying $1 billion of DOLA into DeFi lending markets in 2022. So, it's definitely an exciting time to be here.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And I think it's important to have a due diligence process and whatever we're doing with treasury funds. It's always important is to make sure that we stay, as we invest in things and go along with funding, we need to make sure we have a good framework in place. And you bring up something which is like, you're also sort of like facilitating, right? And that's sort of what it means to be in a DAO. Like where sometimes you got to do other things that you are that might not be part of your department to help the overall organization. I think that's something that each of us can feel as well. Like we sort of see what's needed and then sort of fill in the gap. Great. Yeah, and then I think one thing that a lot of people would want to know about is like how the risk team will be working with the treasury working group in the future because I feel like some of their goals seem pretty intertwined. So I know Nebs that you're sort of representing the Treasury Working Group today. Would you like to give a brief introduction about like, what the Treasury Working Group is looking to do?
Yeah, sure. So I think Steve did a good job of of describing in terms of what the overall goals for us are in terms of trying to get to a target of 1 billion circulating DOLA, right? And it's a pretty aggressive goal, but I think we can do it. And there's definitely some overlap between risk and the Treasury Working Group. But for the most part, actually Steve came up with a really good model, essentially like I guess a deal flow model of how that's going to progress going forward, right? and that's in coordination with the growth working group, risk and treasury, right? But in terms of treasuries, like immediate immediate goals, immediate things that we feel need to be addressed early on is just managing our liquidity across not only Ethereum but other chains such as Phantom, and if we expand to other chains aside from Phantom, there too. One of our biggest problems, I guess, today in terms of being able to manage our liquidity is, everything currently has to go through governance, right? Like there's not really a mechanism um, for Inverse to deploy liquidity quickly and easily in a manner that allows us to efficiently grow those new liquidity pools. So like Phantom is a really important example because today we actually have really high demand on Phantom, but we don't really have a way without some sort of responsible working group to deploy new liquidity out to Phantom. So like that's one of the early goals that we'll be addressing as part of this proposal is deploying more liquidity out on Phantom, and a lot of that liquidity is going to be coming from our bonds, right? So when we launched Inverse Plus, part of that was refilling our existing bonds offerings that we had before, as well as two additional bonds, the DOLA 3 pool bond and the DOLA bond. And so far that's been successful. We've been I've been pretty pleased with the results. They've been they've been selling out pretty good. So our goal is we're gonna take the bond revenue and reallocate that revenue to Phantom, right? Because that's kind of like one of the places where we got a ton of demand, but we just don't have enough liquidity. So that's kind of one of our immediate plans there. We've also got a backlog of potential OTC deals that need to be vetted out and potentially executed on. Those can be time sensitive in a lot of cases. So that's another thing. And then in general, I think I mentioned like just rebalancing, making sure that our pools stay liquid, right? So we've got a lot of options there on how we deal with that. And in general, we are also uh, responsible for helping see these potential new deals coming through, whether it's adding DOLA as collateral on another lending protocol, or maybe like a DAO wants to do a DAO swap, and after we run the numbers, we feel it's favorable for Inverse. And then obviously we have like financial reporting responsibilities and that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
but I think it's important. um, I
Yeah.
think we're at the point where we're rapidly growing, and we need to be able to act quickly. We need to be able to have that option.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've seen, I mean, that we've all seen is that, we have a lot of opportunities, but because we never had really had a working group, and then like these proposals were sort of being made just like haphazardly. Like they're just like, they come up here, they come up there, and then it turns out that, getting it on chain and getting onto proposals took a long time. And then by the time that we could do something, it took too long. So
Yeah,
I think it's about finding a balance between being quick and then also being transparent and just making sure that the governance is working right. It's definitely a lot
yeah,
of tricky things, I give you that.
exactly. Yeah, and I will say that we're not sidestepping governance like as you see today. Like the vast majority of the deals that we have today are still going to go through governance, right?
Yeah,
There are
yeah.
some exceptions where like if time is of essence, we're obviously going to be transparent with the community. But if there's like time critical things, we now have the option to to act on them, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So
definitely.
There's a principle, and I wanted to touch on this because the TWG proposal is so critical um, in us being able to scale our operations to an extent that we can hit that big goal this year, right? And whether we overshoot it or undershoot it, there really does have to be that balance of full transparency and review of every decision, or being able for a group that's entrusted by the governing body and empowered, equipped by the governing body, to have some flexibility to be able to deploy in a more timely fashion, right? And the
Mhm.
nature of DeFi in a lot of cases is such that if you wait 3 days or 5 days, or you look at VE DAO and No Times DAO and Iron Bank that kind of all launched a few weekends ago, the whales and the very nimble DAO organizations that were able to take advantage of farming opportunities there, and liquidity providers or liquidity deployers such as us were able to take advantage, had to move very very quickly. And the ones that had to go through governance to approve that deal, just they missed all those deals because by the time 3 days was up, well, the real juicy yields had all been slurped up and the whales had already dumped their tokens, and that opportunity had been arbitraged away already. And that's kind of some of the difficulty that we fight in this space is where is the balance between every deal going through on-chain governance, knowing that there's going to be a 5-day lag time at least for that to be able to happen. So it's an interesting problem in to be solved in DeFi because you want everything to be trustless, transactions to be trustless, and there's the kind of a mantra of trustless, permissionless, right? But still, as a DAO, you've got people involved that are relying on trust, and if the DAO can get to a place where it can entrust and empower a smaller group with some more flexibility to make the decision on a discretionary basis, then from an investment standpoint, we're able to take advantage of more of those opportunities, right? So
Yeah.
the TWG proposal is really critical in, yes, let's vet it and poke holes in it and let's make sure that it's airtight. But let's also remember the spirit of it is to be able to help us achieve our goals in a timely fashion, and not have so many obstacles to being able to deploy quickly.
Yeah, yeah, like I completely understand, and I mean, I also agree with you to a certain extent. It just has to be, and it has to be a balance, and I think a lot of it we will figure out as we do it. As we go along. Maybe there'll be a point where we'll be like, oh, you guys are moving too fast, and then we talk about it, and then maybe we adjust the parameters, and then I think eventually we'll get to a point where we'll reach the sweet spot where we the working groups can have a little bit more autonomy on how to work things without without getting the ability to just go off rails of things. So I think as we go along, we'll definitely reach that. It's just growing pains, but we'll get there. We'll get
yep.
there. Yep. No. Yep. Now for our growth working group, I'm currently in the growth working group with Nakamomo, Karm, and Pat and Nofel, and also I think Masses, though he's also on the front end side of things. And so as a brief introduction, the growth working group is basically a group that sort of figures out, okay, so how do we best grow inverse? I think that's the broadest definition, but the definition itself is broad because we're coming up with all sorts of ways. Like a lot of the marketing, like currently we don't have an internal marketing team, so a lot of the marketing, blog articles, things we've had to do ourselves. And recently we've done a deal with Creator DAO where they're helping us with our marketing efforts for now. But I think eventually we do want to get to a point where we can have like our own internal marketing. But yeah, Nakamomo, Carmen, do you want to speak up on? Yeah. 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 Cool. Yeah, and that sort of things on the marketing front. We're also like sort of setting a structure for the growth working group now. I mean, personally speaking, I've I've been doing a lot of work with like other organizations like Concave, and I've seen like I've like taken what I've learned from there and see like how do we establish a proper workflow? How do we make sure that we're in sync between different departments? And so like we're trying out new things, and I know like there were some people that were a little bit concerned about our workflow, like using Jira. So we are going to be pushing forward with using Jira as our workflow solution because I feel like that is definitely, as far as I know, it's one that works and it's the most intuitive, and I've seen it work in the other projects I work with. But we're also, we're also having basically Monday, Wednesday syncs, which are basically the growth working group would just come on at a certain time for 15 minutes, and then we just talk about what's on the board, what's in progress, like what needs to get done, are there any blockers? And so I think I've seen the structure work before, and we definitely want to like take it, adapt it, and use it, and then use it in like an agile framework. That's how I call it. So yeah, just taking what we learned, and it's not going to be perfect, but I think having a structured workflow like this makes it easier for us to remember things that we're doing, and it keeps things chugging along. Like instead of things being blocked and just forgotten about, like we have all of these documentation, and we know what's in the backlog, what needs to be done, and what we can do about it. So there's definitely a lot of like organizational efforts going on with the growth working group as well. Um, We've also been, I know Carm recently brought up the Discord restructure, which I think will help out with a lot of things. I think that's currently, I mean, we're hoping to get that done sooner than later, but it seems that it's being delayed a little bit. But hopefully, we can get that in so we can have like a proper structure for the different working groups and different departments. But yeah. Anything else the growth working group wants to add? Nakamomo, Naufil, Pat?
Yeah, I'll go. So on the pipeline front, we have a Badger proposal that's up in draft form. We're waiting for the Badger guys to enable DOLA lending on their Rary fuse pool. And as soon as that's a go, we're going to be hopefully up and running with that in about a week. We have one or two other fuse pool proposals. We've got some activity going on Avalanche right now, and there's not a lot to tell, but we have a fairly significant opportunity over there. And then on Phantom, as we've already heard, there's quite a lot going on. I wish Noor were on the call, but there are several things happening there which are pretty promising. And I don't know, some of the stuff is going quickly. Some of the stuff is quiet because we're still small. For example, some won't work with us until we have a Chainlink Oracle for DOLA, which we're getting close to. We're doing a lot of great work in creating more liquidity for DOLA, but we still have some ways to go, I guess. So I don't know, pipeline feels mostly pretty good. I think the Badger stuff is actually more promising than it might appear. We have several follow-on deals to do once we get this fuse pool rolling. Anyway, that was just a quick pipeline update. Then I just want to say Great job of Karen on getting this JIRA board up. If you're interested in participating in any of these different marketing or BD activities, there's a lot of stuff up there. We need writers. I think we've got some good design talent now, whether it's through Yusuf or others, and also the creator guys. But we have a lot going on, and there are sort of 3 or 4 tracks as it relates to messaging. The one big one that we're pushing is just positive sum DeFi. So for about the next 6 weeks, that's a message we're just going to hammer, and we're going to own this category in DeFi of positive sum DeFi. And we think it's a pretty unoccupied lane, and it distinguishes us from others who've got basically useless governance tokens. And it takes a bit of work. I've built categories before. It's a lot of work, and you have to have your act together. But if you do it, it really sets you apart. And right now, today, partially because we're still small, but in many cases, when people write about stable coins or they write about DeFi, we're in nobody's decision set right now. We're not even mentioned. So establishing this category, we think, is going to help us get there. And for at least the next 6 weeks, that's a major thing we're hammering. There's still parallel things like better awareness around different features of Inverse Plus. Naka is working on things related to reward sharing that we'll be able to talk about, more work on bonds. There's lots of sort of what I would call ancillary stories around positive sum DeFi that we can continue to hammer. And then finally, there's just DOLA, and we've probably not done a good enough job of articulating what DOLA means in the marketplace, whether it's the tokenomics of DOLA, how it works relative to Frax or MIM or others, and how the Fed works. You know, we're staffing up with Steed and now the TWG, so we've got a team that kind of stands behind that, and I'm hoping for very thorough scientific type writing from Steed on this. He told me he could do it. So I'm looking for lots of Greek symbols and stuff like that, Steed, when you write about this. Anyway.
Yeah, I can't wait. Thanks so much for that.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I've got a promising contributor. Oh yeah, hey, can I mention that real quick? You know, one of the coolest things about these projects is that sometimes people just wander into your Discord because they've heard about what you're doing. And we've got actually a couple compadres of mine in the audience today, No One and Ohm, who I've worked on various projects with. And then What Is Going On is here with the big question mark. He helped Yearn build out this program, and he just like showed up in the Discord yesterday. So we've been talking, sharing kind of war stories and some best practice type materials already. So you know, it's one of the great things about DeFi and collaboration is sometimes people just appear out of nowhere. So you know, we've got a lot of exciting stuff going on, and I'm just can't wait, Pat, to
right.
embark on a very studious and scholarly paper.
So those are the big sort of tracks, and we've got the creator guys cranking stuff out, and Karen is doing a good job of standing up some process behind this because there's lots of cats to be herded, and I'm really happy that he's able to do this. And I'd again encourage everyone, if you've got even a little bit of interest, to check in with a Karen and see if you can get access to that board. But I think it's the beginning of something good. By the way, I think JIRA has improved its UI quite a lot since I last used it, probably 2 years ago. So I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah, you know, it's definitely a working start. You know, and you know, we have a lot of goodwill with the community. Like I think Inverse has brought up a lot of goodwill. Like I talk with like a lot of people that are like really heavy in the DeFi space. You know, work best of the community. You know, Nor has been a great person. He's been a great developer. He's just been a very stand-up guy. So we have a lot of trust. And so I think once we, and I think there is a lot of demand for DOLA, and we just need to, you know, scale up and, you know, start introducing people to the Inverse brand. And then I think we'll be good to go, honestly.
Awesome. Hey,
Great.
real quick, I just want to notice Weibo is here in the audience, and Weibo is our point person out to the Phantom Foundation and the Phantom community. We need more ears on the ground in terms of what's going on there. And Weibo is also one of the members of our new Japanese language channel. I think Weibo is based in Tokyo. Tokyo is a big place, but anyway, welcome, Weibo. I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
if any of you want to come up, introduce yourselves, talk a bit, I've always felt like the best way to get to know someone is just talk with them. Discord chats are great, but being in a voice chat is just beautiful. But no pressure, no pressure. But if anyone of you want to join in, have a quick conversation with us. I know Harry is here, but I know that you're going through I think a storm right now, so don't worry about it. But yeah. Okay, great. Now, Nofel, I know that you are sort of the head of analytics right now. I know you're bringing up a proposal for, getting more, I don't know, people on board. Like, I know you had a proposal up for analytics. You want to bring that up?
Actually, we can talk briefly about it, but I had to move it a bit forward and to draft it on the website.
Okay.
I was very busy with expanding a little bit our Dune dashboard this week, so I'm a bit late on pushing the proposal, but it should come up soon.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Then I guess masses. I know you've been doing some amazing work on the front end of the website. You have anything to add? Anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, I mean, we're working on new features, and think you will like it. Next week there'll be some new, like nice visuals, and basically you will know more like easily how your borrowing status is. Like right now, okay, we have the borrowing limit, but you will have a much nicer kind of like a dashboard of your borrowing situation. And so this is linked to a new kind of product we're doing, and yeah, it's quite exciting. Stay tuned. Yeah.
Yep, stay tuned. Oh, great. So just really quickly, I know that. So I think what the best thing that we could talk about right now is I know a lot of things are in the back line. I know the Treasury Working Group proposal is going through. I know it hasn't been official yet, but do we have? Oh, someone just came up. Hey, Weeple.
Hey,
Nice to meet you. You want to introduce yourself for a second?
uh,
Or not?
sorry, I'm baked right now.
No, no worries. We've all been there.
Yeah,
No worries.
We've
yeah,
We love
thinking
it. We love
bad.
it.
A stressful
Yeah,
market, right?
relaxing. Yeah,
Seeing
pretty
you
much.
tired.
Yeah.
No worries. No
Uh,
worries. But yeah.
Thanks for introducing. Yeah, Weibo from Tokyo,
We
and
both.
I've been OG Invest member, but yeah, I'm full time researcher, and so I couldn't like spend time on Invest that much. But yeah, I'm pretty much willing to yeah support
Yeah.
and help Inverse community.
No, yeah, that sounds
Cheers.
great. I know you say that you're helping out with like doing like sort of due diligence with the Phantom ecosystem because I know we have a lot of potential in that area.
Yep.
Great, great. I hope you're feeling well right now. Hope you're having fun.
Yeah.
All right, there's also another person. Home, yeah, come up home. Feel free to come up. Yeah, on the topic, just really quick on the topic of the Treasury Working Group proposal. Is the proposal? Is you're waiting feedback? Is it almost done? We're just waiting to send it on chain. What's the update on that?
Um, Harry, you want to come up on stage, take this one? I think we're pretty close. We've had a lot of feedback in general, but I'll let Harry fill in on this one.
There may be a limit to 9 people on stage. No, great
No,
stuff.
no, it's not. Hi, Harry. I know you were going through some stuff. Sorry. Yeah, but
Yeah, I've been without power and internet today. The UK has been hit pretty hard by a storm, and the infrastructure here sort of just crumbles whenever that happens. But with power now, and it's looking like it's going to stay. But yeah, so on the proposal, it's sort of been in the Discord now for around a month. We've had a lot of kind of feedback, redrafted it quite a lot, added a lot of clarity to the proposal. I think we're pretty close now. I've pinged the delegates to try and get some comments from them if they have anything to add. But I think the next stage would probably be to get it onto the forum and get a conversation going there, and then draft on GovMills and then on chain. But I'm hoping it's we're sort of getting there now.
Yeah. No, yeah, great. Definitely. I wish Zeno was here as well because you guys are head of operations. Talk about like the operational stuff for this, but yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming up. I know it's been rough, and I'm glad to know that the Treasury Working Group proposal is coming along. And we definitely want to make sure that things aren't blocked and that we can proceed with things in a timely fashion. So thank you for that. But yeah, so Treasury Worker Group is coming along. Home, I know you just I know you came up from the audience. Is there anything would you like to introduce yourself and talk about that?
Yeah, Karen, I'm with you with the Concave group, and I'm very happy to see that Steve has joined with you guys. Amazing contributor, and looking forward to what he brings as well. And Crypto Harry is a champion. He will always have a special place in my heart for what he did to me. Nakamono as well, and all the other guys, Pat B especially. And I just wanted, I was hoping that Weibo was going to be with us in the chat as well, but I see that he dropped off. I just wanted to say that if he wants to reach out for anything regarding Phantom, he can reach out to me, and I can help him with not just with research, but also connecting him with all the main developers there, because I also contribute with Liquid Driver, and so I know if not all the main devs of Phantom, and can get him through the door to introduce Inverse on how they can partner up and create something new. So the biggest potential I see for Inverse, apart from ETH mainnet, is the growth in Phantom, cheaper transactions, and there is a lot of demand for unlocking a lot of governance tokens values.
Yeah, and I mean, Phantom is definitely one of the biggest areas, right? And thank you for showing up. Thank you for
No
bringing
worries,
this
guys. No worries, guys.
to
Hey, thanks,
I'll
Home.
just drop off, guys. Thank you, guys, for
No,
having
Thanks,
me.
Home.
And
Good to see you.
yeah,
Welcome.
it's thank you, sir.
Holmes
Thank
up here
you.
giving away all our secrets, man. I was just gonna like
This is
take all
Steve.
the stuff
you like
Holmes
it.
tells me and just like say
Steve.
that it was my idea, so you guys would think I
Steve.
was smart. But
No, definitely. Anything, if any advice or any alpha that I give, put Steve's name. I don't want any credit. Steve is a champion, and anything I can recommend, Steve would run with it and would make it 10x, because yeah.
You're too kind. You're too
Let's
kind, sir.
go. Guys, you heard it right here. Steed is gonna make us money. Just kidding.
Yes, Karen.
Oh,
Put the pressure on. Put the pressure on. And I'm
Yeah.
going to put the pressure
all
on
the
you for
pressure on.
Concave.
So this is where we do our own research, isn't it?
Yes. The backslapping is the DYOR process. Here.
Exactly. And
Take care, guys.
I always want to plug this in, but if you're in the audience and you want to contribute, you want to build along with us, this is essentially a community-led project. Like this wouldn't survive. Like this project would not survive without the community. Like I say this about other projects, but it is the truth of Inverse. Like this, everything has to be run through the community. Like even the governance, everything is created by the community. So if you have any skills, any talents, you want to contribute in any sort of way that you can, feel free to reach out to us, to Pat. And yeah, great. I think this was a good session. I definitely think Phantom is definitely the big potential for expansion because we already like I know Nor has built up a lot of connections in Phantom. I know that he's doing a lot of Station Zero X. So I'm thinking hopefully we can expand on that once we get the Treasury Working Group up, as well as have Steed set up with as head of risk, see what he needs. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really curious what he's got up his sleeve there. I heard some things I can't divulge, but it wasn't really concrete enough for me to be able to say anything, and stand for it anyway. So let's leave a tease. I
Yeah.
think that's wise. There is something though I'd like to tell you about, and that's the milestones that we've been talking about. We need to have a conversation and later create a proposal that ratifies how these will be counted and paid out. And there's some work being done. But before that happens, it would be nice to have some intermittent milestones because there are other important things happening around the inverse as well. Um, we could measure it in DOLA circulation, just like the big one, of course, and we've been having some chat about introducing NFTs for stakers or for people that somehow qualify to some, yeah, in some sense that we decide though. So Staker seems to be the most easy one. We can include like the data of this NFT could be changed depending on which role you have, how long you've staked. Those are the two most prominent things I think that have been mentioned that are simple to use and seem relevant metrics.
Yeah.
So for 409er, for example, he would have the rarest kind of NFT because he's been staked all that time. You can't outstake them if you get in later, right?
Yeah.
Assuming they didn't sell, of course.
Well, to be fair, staking wasn't part of the original launch, so I guess you
No, but
could.
since its introduction, of course.
Yeah, but I think I get yeah that'd be a little bit harder. I mean, you could definitely figure out who the 409ers are, but in terms of staking, like I guess the 409ers and other people who got in, early on that weren't 409ers would still be able to stake at the same time. But yes,
Yeah, but
yeah,
either way, we want to recognize that staking over time is valuable to Inverse.
yeah, yeah,
That's the main
yeah.
point there, and I think like we can make it more simple than that. But it would be nice to have, well, after the $1 billion mark, where it looks like now we're planning to have it. Lost my train of thought there, but
Yeah, I mean, from what I was seeing in the thread, people, if you have feedback on the thread, like please share it so that we can like have more people, have more heads thinking about like how we want to go about this milestone process. But from what I was seeing in the thread, you would basically be offering like NFTs to like the IV stakers that would represent, that would basically like represent their staking position, and then once we reach a certain milestone, we would allocate rewards based on the NFT positions, right? Is that correct?
well, the reason that I'm so vague is that I want information to use as data for making these decisions, so it's not entirely top down. So it becomes, because this is all about being relevant for the people involved and being a reward for being a part of what we can call a community in a sense. It's difficult. It's kind of ephemeral. It's hard to put your finger on what's the community. Is it a company with a few driving people and a bunch of investors, or there is a middle ground there? And I really like that. I really like that this type of organization can be this like spearhead, like super pointed thing, but it also has the option to use secondary skills from its contributors, and create this mesh of value that is usually lost in more hierarchical structures. So, at least while we're small, I hope that's going to be a prominent feature of people showing new talents, getting opportunities, and so on. And yeah, I feel like it's happening.
I know, I definitely agree. There's been so many people that stood up recently. Like, I definitely feel really good. I feel really good about Inverse right now. Like, there's been so many people that stood up about like skills that they have, and that's sort of what drives a DAO forward. Like, you can make something out of yourself without you know without a college degree, as long as you have the skills and you're willing to build. Even if you're not feeling confident in yourself, if you just want to do something, like provide whatever skills you have and just build yourself and learn, because we're all learning here. Like I learn from amazing people all the time. just learning together, building each other up, and building up this DAO as a whole, as an organization.
Yeah, there's no better way to learn fast than to get into a spot where people who know the thing you're trying to learn really well are doing it and let you be there and learn how they do it. So that, that's DeFi. Didn't the chat start, or this chat start out with some comments about we all learning in DeFi?
Yeah, we're all
Uh,
learning. Like,
yeah,
I'm telling you, in this, if you want to take this opportunity, like you can learn so much in this space in such a quick time. Okay.
It
yeah, and
really is.
I
Like
look
it,
at. Oh, sorry, man. I looked at. I've been working with Creator now through and Pat, of course, and Carmen and so on. So it's really interesting. They have an interesting structure where there's kind of each contributor chooses to take each task each time, every time. So I think that's a good recipe for having a very high retention of their talent and meaningfulness and so on. But it also demands a lot from the organization. So it's really cool to see that kind of experiment happening and being part of it. It's in
Yep.
some sense.
Yep.
So we're we're working on explainer video and flowchart video, like a whiteboard style kind of thing. And yeah, USF has been pretty helpful with designs for our Twitter stuff and other things around here in Inverse. Should mention that it's not all outsourced.
No, yeah, I think outsourcing is good until it isn't, and it's just like a lot of fees that would be better driven internally, because then we build up our own. But yeah, we build up our own people as well. So eventually we do want to get to the point where we can internally do everything. I think that is definitely the goal. I'm definitely looking around for people that could help. And to see who can, help with the marketing efforts, like who's good at design, video editing. I definitely have like some promising people that we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what comes up out of that. But yep, it is 11:50. I think this is a good time to just start closing up the session. So again, if you have any skill sets, research, marketing, anything really, if you just want to bring it up and you want to start help contributing, like I started out in DeFi just writing out newsletters, and we just learn along the way and we build each other up, and now here we are. And so if you want to, is there anything you can offer, any way you want to contribute, feel free to reach out to us. It's important, and we want you to be part of this journey with us. And I think
yep. As soon as that
with
Discord reorg gets done, by the way, there will be
we really need to get
better representation of topical groups in the Discord. So if you have an interest in marketing, if you have an interest in policy, you have an interest in risk,
need
you
to
can go drop your name there, and
honestly,
we'll reach out to you.
we need to get the Discord reorganization happening soon. Like the strap is done. We just need someone to do it essentially. But we'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, I hope I'm not revealing much here, but I think um, probably Karm will be will be leading actually doing the changes. So
Yeah,
hopefully
that
we'll
makes
see.
the most sense. Yep. All right. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up for our inverse community call. Definitely looking to have this every week at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern. Appreciate having you guys here. Appreciate having you guys here, just listening along, just listening to us ramble. No, we're definitely looking forward to seeing how Inverse grows, and we definitely want to be a part of this big endeavor to getting DOLA to be the $1 billion market circulating supply could be. Great. Well, thank you everyone. Does anyone else want to add anything before we close?
Corin, when are you going to get that music bot up and running?
Yeah, get a music bot. We can have so many bots. Like,
Let's
once
do it, man.
someone, like if we get Karm up there, if we get someone, like, we could add so many bots. I've seen so many good stuff being used
I'm
in
just looking forward to turning you loose on it, sir.
Let's go. All right, wag me, everyone.
Thanks for leading the day, man.
No problem.
Hey,
I
thanks
love
so
having
much.
you guys here.
Thanks, man.
I mean,
Great.
Karen.
All right. Thank you, everyone. See you later.
See you all.
See you
Take
next
care.
week. Woo!